In a time where whiskey is getting bloody expensive, whiskey is getting unaffordable, I did a couple of reviews of no age statement whiskies going for 70, 80 euros, dollars, pounds, and I think it is absolutely, well, it is a little bit disgusting how the prices are going up. And of course, we all complain about the whiskey prices, but we still go out and we spend our euros, dollars, pounds on a whiskey that we, in our little hearts, we know it is a little bit expensive, but everybody's talking about it and everybody's happy about it, and we have to try it. It's a disease, I tell you. It's a constant chase of all the different types of whiskies. And that brings me to tonight's whiskey, something that is affordable. Now, I just returned from a short little holiday. Everything is bloody expensive, cost a fortune to go traveling nowadays. And you come back and you look at your whiskey collection, and I thought to myself, there's a lot of people that might not have a big collection that I have. And they go on a monthly basis, maybe buy a bottle every 2-3 months. And sometimes the economy is telling us we need to slow down. And yeah, definitely that is tonight's whiskey. Slowing down, looking at the budget, opening up the wallet to see what's flying out of it. And well, as you've seen from the thumbnail, not much coming out of this wallet at this moment. But yeah, we're looking at the Glen Moray Port Cask finish, and it costs £20. Now, it's hard to find a good whiskey today for £20. You've seen all my duty-free reviews. I think it's 40 or 50 reviews already from all over the world, and there's not a bargain to be found. So definitely, for the price conscious people, I think this is definitely going to be something that will interest you and something that you will enjoy. So 40% ABV, probably not natural color, it's chill filtered. And you know what, for 20 euros, I really don't care. It is something that anybody can afford nowadays. So it is matured or finished in port casks. And of course, most of the time it was spent in ex-bourbon casks. So we expect a little bit of a sweetness, a little bit of a fruity note. So I did pour this one maybe 15 minutes ago. It is quite a light whiskey. Coloring, I'm not sure. I don't like to go online and looking at other people's reviews or notes. I think the power of suggestion is quite powerful, and I try to only give my views on it, so not somebody else's views. And on that note as well, please remember to like and subscribe. It's the only way to grow the channel. We have now 1,381 subscribers. I'm very grateful for you guys and gals that are subscribing. But of course, for the new people, if you like the content, please remember to like and subscribe, ring that bell, and you'll find a lot of information. I think more than 560 videos already. So there is a nice database for you to go check out later on. On the nose of the Glen Moray, cheers. Now, it is a lovely nose. And that 40% I think actually works. I think if it was a little bit higher, like 46% ABV, I think it's going to be a little bit too powerful because it is a young whiskey. So they did proof it down, I think, to perfection for me. There's a lovely sweetness, but it is a light sweetness. It's definitely not an over powerful, in your face sweet whiskey. And the strangest thing, when I poured it, I thought it was a mistake. It was the wrong whiskey. I just got a hint of a smoke, just a touch of it. I was wondering, do I have the right bottle to have the right sample bottle. I wasn't sure, but that quickly disappeared. So I get that strangeness. It's definitely a little strange on the nose initially, and with a little bit of time, that strangeness moves away, moves out of the way, and leave you with this light, fruity notes coming out. There's a little bit remind me of a grape tizer, the red grape tizer fruit juice. I get that nice grape note. Loads and loads of malty notes coming out. There's a nice woody component to it, and I suspect it's probably European oak cask that they use. So there's a spiciness, there's a little bit of that woody notes, a little bit of a musty woody note, quite pleasant. It reminds me a little bit of some red fruit. There's a little bit of a strawberry component. Also a little bit of a jammy note coming out, but not a sweet jammy note. And it keeps on changing. Every time that I go back, I get something else. It's a little vanilla note. Right at the back, I get a little bit of a chocolate note, but not a dark chocolate. It's a little bit of a milk chocolate, but just a hint of that. A little bit of a toffee note as well coming out. So definitely it does like a little bit of time in the glass. And I think you'd never hear me saying that a cheap whiskey like this can be complex. Maybe not complex in a certain state, but I can tell you it does open up the mind, and you do get some wonderful notes coming out. And it keeps on changing. So definitely a nice one on the nose. On the taste, cheers. On the taste, there's an initial sweet nose, much sweeter than on the nose. So you definitely get that port note coming out. You get that lovely sweetness, and then like 1.5 to 2 seconds later, there's a spiciness coming in, a little bit of a spice heat, a little bit of a oaky spice note, bringing you in a little bit of a tannin, a little bit of a bitter note. And I think it's quite a well balance between the sweetness and that bitter note, just to tone it down, leave your mouth a little dry. That initial sip felt oily, but it soon disappeared. A little bit of a dry mouth asking, take another sip, take another sip, oh, take another sip. So definitely, the taste-wise, I do like it. Give me it another try. Cheers. Fruitiness, a vanilla note, a little bit of a toffee note, and that spice is definitely building up. So the second sip, bigger dry mouthfeel, that dark fruit notes coming out, a little bit of that raisiness coming out, a little bit of that toffee note, a little bit of a mix between the two, and then you get that sweet aftertaste, but then also that little bit of that bitter notes coming out, and it seems with the second sip there's a little bit more of that spicy, oaky bitter notes coming out, and every time I think to myself, but this is perfect. And I am not a person that like bitter whiskies. Sometimes it can be a little bit too much. Just give it one more try. Cheers. The oak is definitely building up a little bit. It's a little bit more oakiness, a little bit of that bitter notes, just elevating a little bit. So some people might find it a little bit offensive. Most of the time, I'm one of them, but for me, I think it works. And I think it works because they proved it down to 40%. And normally, if you have a whiskey that, for me anyway, if it's a high ABV, very much of that tannins in it, I add a drop or two water, it tends to bring the oakiness down. So I think in this case, they made a perfect selection, perfect amount of water, well, 40% ABV, a little apple note coming out now. Really a nice one. Really a nice whiskey. Affordable whiskey. Something that's not going to break the bank. And of course, you're not going to feel terrible if your son grabs it and he makes himself a cocktail with it. It's only 20 euros for a bottle. And I'm sure outside of Europe, you might find it for much cheaper. So leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Have you tried it? How much do you pay for it wherever you are? And of course, as usual, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And I see you next time. Cheers.